Happy Tuesday. I'm doing something a little bit fun tonight, a little bit different. Talking about things that are kind of really relevant because people have so many fears of what happens once we're gone. And we move on from this life to the next. So this is kind of a very relevant thing. And I'm excited for it and to share these two amazing people with you guys, as well as having you listen to their story through their words. It's very powerful and gives you such a huge understanding that you don't need to be afraid of moving on to the next lifetime, as most people are. So I'm just going to let some people jump on, and then we'll go from there. I'm really excited about tonight too. It's going to be great. And we had a pretty good live last night too, which was nice. Okay, so we're just going to wait for some people to jump on, and I'm going to wait for Ashley and, you know what, I think I have to put on, I'm coming right back on, so jump back on again, guys. Courtney, I'm jumping off and, no, actually I think I can stay. Hold on, Court. I got to make sure that my, okay, I had to make sure that my Wi-Fi was on so we didn't get cut out. Like it just cut out, but I had to turn my Wi-Fi on, so I apologize for that. I got in quick. Court and Ash, we're going to give it a few more minutes and allow some more people to jump on. Hi, Kinsey. How you doing today? Good? It was gorgeous today in SoCal, wasn't it? Kelsey, hi. Frierson, lad, I think this is going to be really good for you as well, because it's going to help you understand things a little bit more, which, and I know you've come to a huge understanding over the past few weeks in reference to your son, which I'm very happy about. Okay, we're just waiting for some people to jump on. Lourdes, I like that. Noe Balboa, how are you? Okay, all right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to jump on here real quick. Here we go. All right, I just added Courtney and Ash. Hey, girly girls, how are you? Well, I got to put my headset on. Hold on. Now I can hear you. Hey, Whoa. Of course, with the glass of wine, ready to go. Both of you. See, now that's not fair. You didn't tell me we were having wine tonight.
Yeah, it's never too late.
It looks like very girly wine, though. It looks like kind of like a pink, but not quite a red. Is that a Zinfandel?
Yeah, rosé.
It's a rosé. All right. Okay, so let me start this off. I have been, Ashley, how long have I been working with you? For over a year now, right?
Yeah.
For a long time. And then I got a hold of you, Court, like a couple months later.
Yeah.
And have done quite a few sessions with the both of you and work with you through that period of time. And you decided, because we all love past lives so much, that when you came to visit Courtney when she was in SoCal, that you were going to do a guided past life regression with me in person, which was great. I loved the opportunity to be able to meet you guys and hug you in person. Because it's always fun to be able to do it in person, even though we can do it over video. And what we decided to do, because everybody on here knows, this is like the fun stuff for me. Like ghost hunting and past life regressions. Soul retrievals are a lot of work because they're very emotional. But past life regressions, like stuff like this, is fun. Although there are sometimes you go ghost hunting and it's not so fun. It's really crazy and a little bit dangerous, but hey. So this is so important to share with everybody just because of the fact that you do live many lifetimes. You do get to go home. You do get to ascend. You know, in my world, we call it heaven. People call it a different thing, but it's all the same place that we're going to. So what is really cool is all of us in our soul family that are on these lives, we've all come in contact with each other in other past lives. Because energy recognizes energy, and we're attracted to one another. So what Courtney and Ashley wanted to do is they wanted to do a joint past life regression to see about their past lives. And we came to some realizations about our current lives and what we needed to work on. and see who they were to each other and why they had certain blocks. So what I'm going to do is at that point, I'm going to turn it over to you guys so that you can explain the process and how you feel, and you both can explain your stories. And we did go through 3 lifetimes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Introduce yourselves so each one knows who you are, because I know who you are, but everybody doesn't know who you are.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and that's Ashley.
And we're sisters.
We're sisters. I'm the baby sister. She's the older sister. We're like 2.5 years apart. So it was really cool because Elena came down to San Diego while Ashley was visiting me back in March before crazy coronavirus hit. And we did a past life regression. She helped us get all the things that we needed to prep. So she brought the crystals that were necessary, and then we got some essential oils and some incense, right? That's to make sure the room was like set the way that it needed to be set. So we could successfully go through our past lives. And so for me, what she did was we laid on the ground. We were both comfortably on the ground, laying next to each other. If you saw her post, we had our hands hand in hand, like side by side, wrapped with a crystal. And then we each had our own specific crystals that Elena picked for us, and laid on our chest, and then had a blanket so we were comfortable. And she walked us through the meditation to get to that place so we could go through our past lives. And for me, it was really hard because I couldn't relax. Like, it took us like probably 5 minutes.
We had to redo.
We had to redo because I was laying.
So Courtney could calm down. We had to redo. We did a do-over.
I was laying there and I was like, I had my eyes closed, but I was like, all I want to do is open my eyes. Like, so I opened my eyes and Elena's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm sorry, I can't relax. So we had to reset, and I put a blanket over my eyes to like get that darkness so I didn't have the urge to open them. And then I was able to go into the meditation. But my first past life was kind of interesting because it was nothingness. It was darkness. There was nothing there. I was kind of like confused, and didn't know like what was going on, but I just kind of continued to listen to Elena and go through the process, and later found out that the reason that was because I have anxiety, and so it was causing me to not be able to go where I needed to go. And I guess, Elena, you said that sometimes that happens in people's past lives where there's no significance to it. It just kind of is like a space that was taken up.
Well, you chose not to come in that lifetime, right?
Well, you choose depending on where, and it's so funny because, you know, when you went through your past life regressions, I was able to talk you down, tell you when to leave and things like that. And then even now, as we're discussing it, the biggest problem with you is you chose not to be a part of anything for a while because you took a breather, but you did go through 3 past lives. It was just the first one in the beginning was darkness because you did hit 3 of them, if I remember correctly. But you've always had such a fear and anxiety of loss that it causes you to pause before re-entering the world. You have this fear that builds up. Now, the reason why I'm so excited about the fact that we did this past life together is because I believe we effectively overcame that fear. Like, you realize where it came from and where those feelings were rooted. So you can acknowledge when you're getting those feelings and attach it to, okay, was this from then? And this is what's holding me back, or is this a real situation? Which, truthfully, all of your anxiety that you had up until this point in this lifetime has been from there. It projected into this lifetime, because when you look at your current lifetime, you really had no reason to be anxious.
Yeah, I don't. And so my second past life was in the woods with her, which was really cool because we were together and we didn't realize that we were together, but we felt each other's energy. Kirby, quit. Lay down. Sorry, dog problems.
They heard something outside.
They probably heard
That's okay.
Oh, that's what they did hear that.
And so the second one, like, she can speak on a little bit of what her view on the second past life was, but it was so cool because we were in it together, and I was like her child. We were in a forest, and I was just following her around. Like, I didn't really know where to go, but I looked for her, and I felt her energy there. So it was really cool to be the part of that experience, and that's why we have such a deep connection, I feel like, as sisters.
Well, in that lifetime, we were actually twins. That was the one we were twins in that lifetime.
Oh, we were.
Because we were in the forest and we were actually looking for our parents. We got separated, I believe. That's my notes.
Yeah,
but,
she has all the notes. I didn't read it.
Yeah, this is so far after the fact. Normally we try to do this quickly, but Ashley was having a little bit of
we were
camera shyness.
When we were discussing it after we both finished the session, that's when you kind of coached us into our feelings and putting all the pieces together. As we were twins in that lifetime, which is why we felt like so close in that one. And I don't remember.
Yeah, but weren't you fraternal twins, not identical?
Yes. Yeah.
So which one was the boy? I don't remember now.
I think
it was so long.
Boy.
Okay, yeah.
So cool, because my parents thought for the longest time when my mom was pregnant with me that I was a boy. They had a boy name picked out and everything. So maybe that's kind of cool that I was a boy in a past life, because maybe it's connected to that. But yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to focus a little bit on that lifetime, because it's like we're very quickly going through it so fast. So understanding your feelings and how it really pertains to each other in this lifetime, people won't exactly grasp. You know what I'm saying? So you were going, how old were you about in that lifetime?
We were like younger than 10, very young.
And what were you guys wearing? Do you remember? Because we did that afterwards. I don't know if you took notes on that.
I couldn't see I didn't get the clothing that I was wearing. I didn't feel that or see it.
You did in another past life, but not that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we were lost it was very like foresty or jungle type.
Did you get names on yourselves then? I don't remember if you got names on yourselves.
We did.
I want to say mine started with a C, but I don't know. I don't remember. But it was significant too, because we were searching for our parents, like we had lost them somewhere, and the jungle forest was just really dark and you couldn't see very well, and so we were trying to navigate our way through it to find them. But I'm sure there's some significance behind that into our reality of our life now too. So
Do you remember what the pivotal moment in that lifetime was?
It was something to do with our parents in this lifetime. I didn't have that written down, but it was like we got separated from our parents, like we were orphaned and we couldn't find them.
And I believe when we were doing the past life regression, and normally everybody, we should be doing these right after the past life regression, not months later, just because everything stays so fresh in your mind then. But I believe that made you understand your mom more and how she is in this lifetime and her inability, like you connected it to where she wasn't really able to express emotion the way you both felt you needed or felt that it should be expressed. And I think that really, after we did that past life regression was when you were really able to connect with your mom. And she started opening up so much since then. Okay, next lifetime, let's go.
So my last lifetime was the most significant for me because it connected a lot of the reasons why I have so much anxiety with my relationship with my husband, and the extreme fear of losing him, for what it feels like in this lifetime now is like I have this crazy fear that something's going to happen or come between us, like being cheated on or something. And anybody that knows my husband knows that he is one of the most faithful, loyal people ever. Like anybody would say he would never cheat on you, but I just have always had this fear, and there's never been a reason why. And it's always so frustrating to me because I'm like, I know he wouldn't do that. I know, like, there's never been sometimes people go through incidents where they're like, oh, well, there goes your trust, like I've never had anything. And so my third lifetime was really significant for that because I was a really young mom and a young wife, and I eventually became widowed. My husband died, and we lived on a farm, and I think I had like 5 kids, and I just remember wearing like I don't want to say, kind of like old time, like pilgrim like clothing, like very like years past when like farming, you would have to like provide for your family with all your everything on the farm or whatever. And so we figured out that it made sense why I feel that fear of losing my husband now is because that past life I did lose him, and it was unexpected, and I was left with everything. And I was already like a mom that worked on the farm took care of the kids, but like not a widowed mom. So that's where my fear came in now, and it makes more sense. So now I know, like, okay, whenever I start to feel those like signs of anxiety or the fear of like losing him, I'm actually a lot more calm now when like being separated from him, because he is in the military. So it's helpful for me to like deal with that separation because I know where it's rooted from.
Yeah, and it's really hard because in this lifetime, his job takes him away from you for long periods of time, even at times where you may not be able to communicate with him. And if anybody knows that feeling, Maggie does. And it was so important for you to see that. And the problem was you were very young. Even though you had a lot of kids early, you were a young mother, like late 20s in that, you know, so really going more towards, you know, the closer you get to that age, the more anxiety you're going to start having, because that's when your life shifted.
Yeah.
So you're going to have more of those feelings. So it's really important, because
I've had more anxiety than I've ever had in my entire life. So,
but when it gets to around 26, 27, if you feel the height, then that's going to be when that life completely shifted for you. So it does help. And if anybody's husband can be any more loyal, like almost like not even aware that anybody would ever possibly even look at him, it's your husband.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, dude, what? Like if he's going out to have a beer, he's going out to have a beer. He doesn't notice anything at all. So, you know, you don't have anything to worry about. Did you get a name in that lifetime?
I thought it was Sarah or something like that.
Yeah. Something very simple and very popular.
At the time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go, Wish.
Okay, so I have my notes. I wrote them back in May.
She's way better of a student than
I know. You're way more prepared than your sister, which is really weird because that's what your sister does for a living. She's really much better at her job for everybody else versus herself.
Personal, forget it. But
so my first past life that I went to, I was actually a man in my 30s. I was wearing a light shirt and tan pants, and I got the name Robert for that lifetime, or an R sounding name, but I still feel confident that
it was Robert.
And the scene was similar to Aladdin, like the cartoon, like how the rock paved roads and the hand built homes, and like I could see like the food market and all the people, but I'd never felt in that lifetime like I had any family. Like I didn't have a feeling of anybody that I in that lifetime. So I think in that lifetime I was alone. I never got married, and I believe in that one. Now that I'm actually talking about it, I'm remembering, but I think I died young too.
Now, that was in Europe. Do you remember what part of Europe you feel it was in? Because I know that was in Europe.
No, I don't. I want to say maybe it was Italy. I don't know.
Now, what do you remember? What nationality you feel you were?
Oh yeah, we talked about this.
I want to.
Oh, it wasn't
No.
Egypt.
My skin was very tan. Yeah, I was very tan.
So when you're getting Robert or an R, what I get more on is that you were somebody who was visiting. If I remember correctly, you were visiting at that point, and it was more like you were from Spain or one of those countries that kind of hopped over and was visiting. Because I remember that you were a traveler at that time, and you were searching for something.
Right. Yeah, and then I just wrote here that I didn't recall feeling my sister specifically in that lifetime with me.
Do you remember how you died?
I never felt that.
Did you go to the specific moment in that lifetime?
The only
The
moment
transition?
I taken to was like I was surrounded by like the food market and all the people, and I remember just searching, and I was searching for my family or my children or friends, and I didn't find any people I had a connection to, which made sense when we figured out that I was there visiting and for work. And I was very like handyman type job, so I didn't get much more than that
For that lifetime.
Yeah. And then the second one, I was a woman in my 20s to 30s, and it was a beach type scenery. And I could see my daughter. She was wearing a dress. She had long blonde hair. She was dancing and like swirling around, and I was just kind of watching her from afar. And then I approached her, and my name in that lifetime, I got the letter C, but I really felt more like Claire was my name in that lifetime. And I was content, relaxed, and that was a lifetime I didn't want to leave. In our session, the meditation, Ashley, well, you didn't say my name, but you just said it's okay to leave. You can always come back.
Yeah.
And, I just remember feeling like very sad that I was going to leave her, and I was worried about, is she going to miss me? Is she going to know that I'm okay? Is she going to be okay? Like instantly, I felt all those feelings. And what else did I have? And then the daughter energy, it actually felt like my sisters in this lifetime. It actually was. Why I am the way I am with her in this lifetime. Very motherly, very protective. And so it really, that one really clicked for me into the lifetime, and why I feel so strongly towards her and being like a guide, you know, naturally wanting to help her and give her advice and all the things. And then
didn't you, like, that lifetime was the reason you didn't want to leave is because that's what you're striving to be in now? Like you want to be a mom so bad, and you want to feel that feeling, so that's why you had a hard time getting out of that lifetime, because it was your perfect life that you want for yourself right now.
And then the third one was the one where we ended up being twins, in which we already touched on.
The forest.
In the forest. Even though, if I remember correctly, we didn't actually see each other in that lifetime, but we felt one another. And
I was waiting for you to remember that. I was waiting for you to remember the separation.
Yes. Yeah. So I remember that as well for that lifetime.
Did you get a name in that lifetime? I don't remember.
And in the one with my daughter, that was her. Claire. Or
it was Claire. Yeah. Did you see your husband in that lifetime? No. I can't remember if you did. It was you just felt the home thing.
I was very watching my daughter and being with her, and then time to leave, and that's when I was just really starting to enjoy being. Now,
you forgot in the first lifetime, and you have to remember this is going back a little bit. You felt your mother there too.
Yes.
You forget, and hence this is where all of you guys' separation anxiety truly, I think, really. You felt your mother, and then you felt, I want you to remember what actually caused the separation and why you were wandering.
I know, I remember us discussing this, and
you were pulled apart in that lifetime.
Right.
That's when one physically pulled apart. One stayed with the mother, one went with the father, but you were separated.
Yes.
You were separated in that lifetime, and that was very pivotal, you know, to your feelings. And I'm so happy for your mom and where she is right now. She has come full circle in a year. She really, really has. That dog really has done your mother good, in all honesty. And I feel, and I feel like your father's really starting to open up more. But see, the thing is, in that lifetime was a traumatic lifetime for you. And I remember the both of you were so desperately afraid and scared because you didn't know what was going on in that lifetime. And that's truly where, see, for you, you were happy because you were a young mom in your second lifetime. You had your whole world the way you wanted to, because we already know in this life what you're striving so far, and you just want it back already.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas your sister, in the lifetime she has, she's felt, you felt a lot more of the loss.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were the one that was actually pulled away from your mother and your sister in that lifetime. But you were separated. So it was like there were authorities in there. Because I remember, if I remember correctly, it was a cabin and your mom was sitting down by the fire. And then you guys were there. And I remember somebody dragging your father out the door with you. And I remember that so vividly, and the trauma that you guys felt in reference to that. You know,
yes. Yeah. As you're saying that, that sounds very familiar. So yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why I'm so close with my dad in this lifetime, because I was pulled away with him, and so that he was all I had. So, and being that.
And it's nothing bad for a while, the disconnect you felt with your mom, which is being healed. Like that bridge is being healed now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. But you guys started handling her differently. I think after you did the past life regression, you had more of an understanding of why she was the way she was and why she had the fears the way that she had the fears that she does. So what do you feel was most pivotal about doing the past life regression, especially together as sisters?
For me, it just solidified like our connection and why we are the way that we are, because like so many people, even like our family doctor that we both see, like people always notice how strong of a connection we have as sisters, bond we have, and it's definitely aside from that. But like personally for me, that last past life when I lost my husband really young and I had a bunch of kids, I think that was super pivotal for me with my relationship now, because I didn't understand where that stemmed from and so it's super helpful to know where it's coming from and know that it's not from this lifetime, and that this lifetime there is no reason for me to feel that way. So it helps me kind of cope with that.
And you connected that he was your husband in that lifetime as well, your current husband. Yeah. And now do you understand why your relationship the way it did and why you both have such a fear of having children?
Yeah, because we both suffered that separation from our parents, and like for her in her lifetime, when she was a young mom and I was her daughter, like that was everything she dreamed of. And then for me, I had 5 kids and I had the perfect life, and then it got broken when my husband unexpectedly died, and like so there's a lot of trauma that like circles around children and having children and what happens after you have children. So I definitely feel like that's probably both of our fear with having kids. Honestly, both of us could easily have a kid right now and could have already had a baby by now and would be fine. But I'm so scared of like just doing it, you know, and people say there's no right time to have a baby, but we just keep like sitting back saying like maybe
no, you're not supposed to be planning when you're having a baby. After the first baby doesn't matter, and everybody gives you onesies and all that other crap anyway. I mean, you're supposed to have a baby when a baby's supposed to come.
Yeah.
They're not as expensive as you think unless you're planning on being bougie and making sure they have the outfits and the shoes and all that other fun stuff. Although they cost money, don't get it twisted, but you're a military wife, so it's a little bit easier for you. And the funniest thing is, and I think this is going to help you, Ashley, right now, because I was smiling looking directly at you. The baby subject with your sister is very sensitive, such a sensitive subject. It is very hard for Ashley when you speak babies. But with the way where Ashley feels like she can't tell you everything, especially stuff that might upset you, because in her, she's the mom. She still is holding that position. So she's not supposed to let everything know, because all you're going to do is stomp your feet and tell you how you think it's supposed to be. So you understand what I'm saying, like, and it's not throwing Ashley out of the bus, but there's certain things that she goes through, and you understanding that sometimes when she goes through things, if she's going to be, it's like even me like I always pick on my son Dominic. I said forever, my oldest son would say, Mom, why don't you tell me anything? Why does everybody else know and you refuse to tell me? And I said, because Dominic, you lecture me. You're the oldest. You lecture me because I don't want to hear it from you. You know, and it took him a while to realize that he did. He was putting his opinions and how he felt, you know, up against the 40-some-odd-year-old woman at the time, where I was like, I'm not going to tell you because you're not going to understand. So sometimes Ashley honestly just needs to be able to feel, to vent, and have you just listen and go, I get it. Because you are completely, even though you're connected, you are the masculine version of the two. You are the stronger of the two. She's more of the marshmallow.
Who?
You understand? You're more the marshmallow and your sister. Yes, you're more the marshmallow. She's more like the organized, and this is just the way it's supposed to be, and this is how it's supposed to be. You understand? And she can't process, but Courtney can't process feelings like you process feelings. It's different from her. If you really look at her psyche, she really processes more like a guy than she does a girl. If we're all using the stereotypical version, so not to insult anybody, but we all have the masculine and feminine side of us. Whether we're male, it doesn't even matter what gender we are. And that's who you two are to each other. So it's really, really important. But it also shows you who your husbands are in this lifetime and why your dad's doing so much better, though, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, I think he feels so much better having you all closer at home, too. Like, he has that tangible, you know, and I think he's going to retire sooner than later, just so you know.
He is. He has a date.
Does he? Because I get that he already made the decision. He's
so right. And then he keeps saying, like, well, what am I going to do? And I'm like, Dad, you have a lot of things to do. How about you do what you want to do and not have to worry about going to work every third day?
Yeah, no, it's gonna work out good because for a while I know he was fighting it, but I feel the shift in him. But I think he really is looking more forward to family. And your grandmother's going to be fine because I know you two worry about her.
Yeah.
On
making the baby. And what's up with and this is not that we're going off subject, guys, but now that I have them here, they get mini reads too. Your cousin needs to be roped in.
Oh,
Samantha, she's just like, she's out of control.
Yes.
She's out of
Whatever energy I get on her right now, she needs to be roped in. She doesn't even know what the hell she's doing.
Talking with her, but yes.
She's so far off the end.
The edge. Yeah.
And she's letting social media tell her how to feel and what to think and what to believe, and it's driving all of us insane because she's being so far off the deep end, and especially with her school too. It's so bad that she just thinks that she can not graduate high school, and I'm like,
yeah, it's like she got hit by and I love her to death, and when I say things, you guys, it's because she got hit by the stupid tree.
She did.
Like it's like she all of a sudden just decided to give up.
She did.
And
she thinks that she got out of her car and doesn't need.
And I hope Samantha's on here right now because plain and simple, kiddo, and this is their cousin, so I'm saying this directly to her. She isn't street smart enough to be on her own.
No.
She isn't street smart enough to let herself get tossed out on her ass. Because the difference is grandma can only tolerate so much, and your parents aren't. You got to pull your shit together. If you're going to go that route, you need to get yourself together first, because she was working. She's trying so hard to fit in, and she's just not letting herself be herself. So she really needs to be roped in. She's going to be fine, but she's going to end up doing something stupid.
Oh, I'm waiting for it.
I felt that. I know that that's what it's going to come to. It's
almost like we both are at the point where we're like, just something please happen to her to get her, almost like a slap in the face. Like,
well, that's where your grandma's at too with her. That's where your grandmother's like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'm not even, she had no choice. So you need to tell her to listen to the message I gave her, to rewind this and listen to it, because she was doing so well. But she's listening to too many people and not focusing on what she needed to focus on.
Wrong people too.
Yeah. So, but absolutely. Okay. So you guys have a general idea. And like I said, there was so much more to their past life regression, but we did this in March. So this is the main stuff that they had remembered. Does anybody have any questions for them? Because I can see what you're typing up here. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Also, when you were talking about like who we're with in this past life or in this life too, how they're very similar and not what you would have pictured because of how our dad is and the men we ended up with. Even they're very similar with their history with their families and stuff, and how it's very relatable, at least for us. And we did usually go for guys that are like your dad, and we went towards opposite of our
the
dad.
Complete opposite. But your dad wasn't always the way he was in this lifetime. Your dad's actually a lot smarter than you think.
Oh, I feel that.
He's a lot smarter than he realizes. I think sometimes he's afraid to talk. I think that's why he's been forced to suffer the things that he's seen in his lifetime and be able to process them. And it's very interesting how your father's handling the political climate right now, the climate politically right now too.
He's completely
it's
shut it.
It's really interesting. Yep.
He got off Facebook. He just can't deal with it. And it's actually funny because, I don't really know if it's funny, but it's interesting because I don't want to get political, but I'm talking about my dad, so I feel like it's fine because I'm not sharing my beliefs. But he's a Trump supporter, and he lives out in the country and has a Trump flag in his yard. And I guess Samantha, our cousin, didn't like that. She didn't believe that it should be allowed for people to have flags in their yard of their political party, specifically Trump people. She thinks that it shouldn't be allowed. And so my dad sent her a photo of his flag in his yard.
He was poking the bear.
He was poking because
he was trying to get her to open up and think. And we're going to get back to that in a second because as the questions come up. Jen wants to know, were there any points in either of your lives that especially blew you away or shocked you the most?
Do you have anything?
I was not expecting to feel how strong I felt for the daughter I saw that I didn't really know. But I instantly felt like no time had passed, like she was my daughter no matter what. That freaked me out a little bit because I didn't want to leave. And Elena had to tell me, you can always come back, it'll be okay. And that was probably the most shocking to me, is how strongly I felt in that lifetime towards my daughter, who ended up, being Courtney's energy in this lifetime, which made a lot of sense. So.
And you were also really surprised you were a guy the first lifetime you went back to. That kind of I can't believe it. I was a guy. And it was so funny. And I'm like, yeah, it happened.
I think just all of the past lives I went through, it was interesting to see how somebody can have so much anxiety, and it just showed through every single past life in a different way, but it all stemmed from something. And that's something that I have struggled with in this life, is figuring out where that's coming from, because from a perspective of my life now, I don't have anything other than being a military spouse, nothing. I don't have things that should be giving me this amount of anxiety, and it just came out of nowhere. So that was really, I don't know if shocking is the right word, but it was kind of like closure to me, because now I know.
Eye-opening. Now you understand.
Okay, that makes sense, but it was interesting. And it was interesting too that I chose not to go into that first life or be a part of it. I don't really know what the significance is of that. You probably could tell me, but that
was your fear. You wouldn't go through the door. You wouldn't open the first door. You chose your first lifetime. You stayed in the darkness because you would not open your first door, because I believe you were afraid to see what was in there, because your anxiety was so huge at that point.
I want to do it again and see if
We're going to fly Elena to Texas.
Yes.
Hey, we're going to do an event if we do that. That'd be awesome. Absolutely. I will travel anywhere. And
your past
when
life.
Okay, I'm going to say, when you meditated, and this is from Beautiful Wisdom Queen, when you meditated and went back to your past life, were they there all of a sudden, or did you travel and then land in the previous lifetime?
Mine was kind of all of a sudden, but like I felt the shifts. Like I was like, I could pinpoint after we were done, I could pinpoint like, okay, I was in this past life, this is what happened, and then it ended. And then I was in this past life, and then this is what happened, and then it ended. And then the last one, you kind of roped us back in. So I don't know, maybe I could have stayed in that one a long time. I don't know though.
Well, we went through the corridor first,
Yeah.
which
Elena
in the
does
beginning.
that
in the meditations as well, which I recommend.
Yeah.
So we went through the corridor and we could see all the doors to our past lives, and Elena asked us to pick whatever one we were drawn to first. And then we'd go through that lifetime, and she'd tell us, okay, it's time to leave now. And then we'd come back through the door. The door was always behind us. So if we ever got scared or anything, it was always there. And then we would get back in the corridor with all the doors, and then we'd go into the next door. And then we did that times. And then she walked us through going back to our bodies afterwards. And then we came back. It was like you felt weightless the whole time. It was really crazy to be that relaxed, that you were weightless.
Yeah. No, I know. And the thing that was important, the way it is set up is it's set up because when you do a past life regression, you have to have a point of origin and a way to get back. You can't just fall. That's why I do want to let you all know, don't try to go online and do one of the recorded past life regressions by yourself or soul retrievals, because the problem is if you don't have anybody there that is going through it with you, like I'm basically your safety. I'm there going through with you and knowing, okay, you're struggling now. You would have stayed in the middle lifetime, and you could have stayed.
Right.
And I would say, you can come back. I know you're happy. You can come back to this lifetime whenever you want to. And when I had to rope you all back in the last lifetime, it was all the fear and the trauma that you were feeling. Like if you could have run, you would have run. But the doors are set up that way. And the thing is your very first past life regression, all it is a peak. You go through 3 lives, and you do it very specifically. And then the way that it is set up is the doors, because you have so many doorways, like anybody who went through the Akashic, opening up the Akashic, go into your Akashic library. You did the Akashic library, didn't you, Ash? Did you do it?
We were talking about that. I remembered that when I did my meditation with Jen and Lucy, actually got to, oh my gosh, there's my dog.
There he is. Puppy.
He wants to be in.
Puppies are allowed to visit.
And I actually got to see my daughter again, which I was super excited about. In the meditation, I got to see her again for a moment, and so get the feeling of being Robert again for my first lifetime that I went through, amongst other. But
so what happens in the past life regression, your very first one, we pick 3 lifetimes where we don't pick, but you're going to go through 3 doors, and it's set up to be the doors that are most relevant to what you're experiencing in this lifetime and the problems you're having with. Like the very first one that Courtney had, she was scared to death. She did not want to go into it. She just was like, nope, I'm staying here. I'm good, and she had that option where she didn't even have to open up the door if she didn't want to. But now, so you go in, you get an idea of who you are, where you were, what you were wearing, if you were a guy or a girl, and all of those things. And then we fast forward really quick to the incident that happened. Like you saw who you were together, then you saw being separated and lost when you were in the forest. So you saw the different things. So then if you want to, in another past life regression, you can go back to those specific lifetimes and really walk through your lifetime. Or you pick a couple of other lifetimes to go through, depending. So there's safety set up in every single one of these guided meditations, because you have to remember, the music that you use has specific meta beats and vibrational levels to get your brain, because we're having your conscious mind fall behind and go to sleep, so your subconscious mind rises and attaches to the universal mind in your Akashic field, your universal mind. And then, so you have to have somebody that's sitting there that can pull you back and wake you up. Because sometimes you can find yourself where you're scared to death and you're frozen. It's like when they say sleep paralysis, when you're awake and you can't move. You have to have that person in there that is calling you back. Perfect example. Did anybody, I saw it for the first time last night. How funny. Did you ever see the, what was it, Insidious, The Final Key?
Mm-mm.
Didn't know this movie existed. I watched it last night because it's Halloween and me and my scary movies. But it's exactly what you feel like when you go to the other side as a medium or somebody who's gifted or even a past life regression. There's doorways. And when you go, you're talking to the other spirits. So if there's something over there, you have to be able to pull yourself out or have somebody strong enough that's able to go in and get you and pull you out if you get stuck. That's why safety is so important, and that you have somebody's with you. Even if you're doing an online meditation, you got to be careful the music they use and how they bring you through, because it's a form of meditation, hypnosis, and programming in the music. You really need to trust whoever you're doing the past life regression, the soul retrievals, the astral travel, the OBE with, because if they have anything where some people don't always do things from the best of intentions, if they're not planning things within your psyche or within your mind that can cause you harm or fear. So you have to be very careful, because I've had quite a few people that have tried, yes, music. It's the meditation music you get used to get yourself all zen. And even your incense that you're using is used to raise your vibrational level and bring in protection. That's what the crystals are for. So that's the biggest thing I can talk about it, which is great. And then you can go back and revisit. Like, it was great because when Mossy did her, she sees everything, but when she did the Akashic Record one with me, to go to your Akashic library to be able to access your Book of Lives, she was able to see the baby she miscarried. And she had both the new baby in her belly together. They introduced each other to each other right now. So she connected with that baby. She was able to feel the energy of the one she lost, and they were together with her husband as a family, which was such amazing, because even if you miscarry a child, that energy, that spirit is still connected to you. It just, for some reason, it wasn't their time to be here, and it wasn't anybody's fault at all. So it was really cool, because you could go back and you can hang out with that daughter and spend the time and tell stories or find out the story of that life. You know, you can continue the story. So your first past life regression is really kind of like your exploratory, it's like your peek through. You're skimming through the index of your lives to see which ones you're drawn to and which ones you may need to spend more time with. And then ones where you look, I get it. That is why I can be an anxious, scared person every once in a while. And I don't need to go back there, but now I recognize why I have that problem. Or somebody like we have Mel on here. Her first meditation, her fear of fire she had with the smoke, and why she gets to the point where she can't breathe. There's different experiences. Ron wants to know, is this experience scary or sad?
No. I mean, well, you've said, Elena, that depending on your lifetime, which one you're drawn to, they can be traumatic lifetimes. But for me, and I believe Courtney, like, we didn't have anything that was too scary. I guess I kind of did feel a little sad to leave my daughter in the second one, but it wasn't. And I did miss her. Like, when I came back, when we were discussing it, I felt like I missed her and I wanted to see her again. But I mean, overall, like, you're still very relaxed and calm, even though you're experiencing all these things. So it's not like you're panicking, wake up. You're just kind of processing it. And if you get scared, you know, Elena's there with you, and you always have the door. You can just walk out and leave if it's too much for you. And
And like I explained to people, past life regressions, you're basically OBE. Best way to explain it, even though it was his current lifetime in the movie Scrooged, he got the ghost of Christmas, past, present, and future. So basically what you're doing is you're floating, legitimately you're out of body when you do this, because you're walking through these past lives. You're witnessing who you were in that lifetime, the lifetime you lived. And so it's what lessons. When you come through, it says you will feel no pain or fear in reference to this, just an understanding of who you were and what lessons you learned. So it gives you a better understanding. So that you don't, it's just you're witnessing yourself and viewing the lifetimes and maybe seeing yourself as that person, but it's still looking upon the person you were then. Now, the one that you fear, the one that's rough on you is your current life soul retrieval. And the reason is I purposely have to bring you through the times in this lifetime that have caused you so much trauma that holds you back, because the soul retrieval, you have pieces of your soul in this lifetime that were ripped away from you, whether it was something you gave to somebody freely or something took without permission, you know, depending on whatever traumas are happening. You guys have to remember, you experienced your first trauma coming through the damn birth canal or getting cut out of your mama's belly, because you're all warm and happy, floating around, getting fed, hearing your mother's heartbeat, everything's nice and calm. So that's your first traumatic experience. So unfortunately, and I am with you again, when you go through that, you have got to feel the pain again. You physically, you feel it. You feel every bit of it, and I want you to. Because the only way you can heal that pain is to feel it, to recognize it, because through this process, you are actually healing yourself. You're sending it the healing you need so you can bring it back into your soul. So the soul retrieval is you're going to feel it more. Whereas your past life regression, like past life regressions, to me, they're fun, you know, and when you come out, it's easier for you to process. But the coolest thing is usually you keep going through it for like 4 more days. Where if you, like I had one girl who never spoke Spanish a day in her life, and she saw herself as a Spanish abuela. You know, she was Mexican in a past life, and she was the abuela cooking for a big table, and she came back and turned around and started speaking. She understood Spanish.
Wow.
She never spoke it a day. Remember that? She actually, when we first started, she came on and talked about her experience. So different things come. So,
and I do
past life.
We were joined and feeling the energy between our hands. That's how I like kind of confirmed that she was in that lifetime with me during those, because I could feel the energy between our hands, even though I was subconsciously, I don't know, it was really weird that I could feel like almost like a tingling sensation in our hands, and almost like our fingers were like twitching in movement when we were doing it. But I couldn't feel my body. I just could feel the connection at our fingers, which we were joined by. What was it, like a magnet and a...
For you guys, because of what you guys suffer in this lifetime, I needed you to feel love and protection. So I had wrapped a rose quartz, clear quartz, and hematite cord around your wrists so that it gave you the protection and that it gave you all of that. And the funniest thing, guys, when you go into past life regression, usually you can understand exactly what they're saying. You understand exactly what the language is, even if you don't speak it. You have a knowing about what is being said. It's so funny because the Kylie Viking and the Psychic Viking has 2 pages, and it's the same person, which is really cool. You know, and he's one of the people that has been actually attacked, where we had to go in and do the protection so we can actually see who is attacking him right now with the energy. So does anybody else have any questions? And they were very valid. My sister, Yellow Wolf, it's because she had no choice. You guys had a pretty traumatic childhood. It wasn't an easy thing, and that's how your sister protects herself. As she gets older, if she doesn't do something like a soul retrieval, she is going to have little awakenings when all of a sudden she starts remembering something. You might also find that if you tell a story about something, she knows she was a part of it, but she doesn't remember any of it because her mind, to protect her, blocked her out. Oh, yes, that's a soul retrieval, Mel. I can take you back through your current lifetime. A lot of times I won't allow people to do a past life until they do a current life because they won't be prepared for it. Okay. Do animals have past lives? Yes, they do. They absolutely do.
Oh, my.
You could actually, believe it or not, you can actually come back. When I did Gary Carver's show, Control Chaos, because of where his boys were. Gary Carver, who was one of the people who worked with Howard Stern, he was his reporter in L.A., and he has his own show now. And then his brother, their cat Caesar, actually has their dad's energy attached to it. So when he passed away, that's how he decided to stay in this lifetime with his boys, which was very interesting. And all the cats' tendencies and behavior and moods was exactly like their father's. So okay, let me see. That makes me so nervous. Kane has done. Did you do? You guys just did a past life regression. You didn't do a soul retrieval, did you?
No, because
you said we didn't need one.
We were able.
No, you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, we were fine.
Well, we had already had sessions with you too before.
Yeah.
That.
So I knew where you were emotionally, that you were fine. And you guys kind of face your fears in this lifetime too. And you're so young. Kane did a soul retrieval. So did Chaz. So did Chaz Cromwell, and so did. My goodness, brain just went dead. Mikey did the soul retrieval. Like I couldn't believe it. I totally forgot that Mike and I haven't done a past life regression yet. He did the Book of Life. He did the past life or the soul retrieval, but he did not do the past life regression yet. But Mike, I don't think I was going to let you do the past life regression until you did the soul retrieval, though. I think you were one of the people I said, nope, we got to do this first. So, does anybody else have any other questions for these beautiful young ladies? Now, I will say, as I said that, Courtney, the stubborn one, Ashley, is finally making her way through and not trying to force things. She's allowing things to happen and finding faith in herself and strength because you've done so much better. Huh? Yeah, patience is not one of her virtues. Courtney actually was able to release some of her anxiety and start her own business and start a whole career that she was going to be able to be lucrative with. So why don't you mention again what you do for a living and what people can use you for?
So I am a virtual assistant. I do stuff with podcasts, people that have podcasts. I do outreach for podcasts, stuff like sponsorships and landing people on podcasts, or having people have guests on their podcast. I do a lot of social media stuff with Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. So I wear a ton of hats, actually, but it's nice because being a military spouse, I need something that is mobile and flexible, and that is exactly what this is for me. So I love it. I'm so happy that something good came out of COVID happening, because I was feeling very lost in my career path and feeling like there was no growth for me anywhere, even though I saw the growth in myself, but my lifestyle just doesn't have it.
Yep. And that was what her first session was based on, career path. And we basically went through the session. I said, apply for a job, and that's going to be your first move. And she got it a few days later, which was nice. But through the whole thing, she was supposed to have her own business because she can't really work for anybody else, and because she's got amazing organizational skills. And what she does not, what you never talk about, which kind of bugs me a little bit, because she loves doing it and she's very good at it, besides all of the other things she does with the social media, because she loves talking to people, don't get it twisted. She started branching out into being a publicist, which is great, which I'm happy that you took that recommendation. But she is an amazing event planner.
Yes, this is true.
She designs, she takes people, whatever you want to do. I mean, the whole show where that one guy helps them get the dress and designs their venue. I love him, and I can't think of him. Not Yes to the Dress.
Yeah,
David, is it Dave? Oh, come on, Yellow Wolf, you got to know who it is. Where's Lucy? He actually, brides go to him to have them plan the whole wedding. And he calls them his bridezillas. But it's not bridezilla. But he designs the theme of the wedding, their vision of it, gets them the right dress. I mean, it was just, but her vision, the way she designs things and comes across is amazing. So for my people that are having their, David Tuteri, yes, thank you. I love that. Psychic Viking, every session I have done has peeled back another layer and made everything cleaner. If you guys are open to it and you're willing to go on the journey, we can open up everything and set things going. But the thing is if you're scared, like some people are afraid, where they got, oh shit, I don't know, was it you, Mel, who I said it to, where you're afraid to look and see who's trying to talk to you. I'm like, if you want me to open you up, I'm going to open you up. Don't get surprised if you see something there, but it's not there to hurt you. So you can change your whole world. Like Courtney changed her whole world. But so I have some people that 28 seconds and we're going to get kicked off. That we're going to get kicked off legit. Do you want to come back on?
For a minute?
Sure, just for a minute.
For a minute, and then we'll do that. So we're going to come back on just for a minute so that we can finish up. So I'm going to publish this and we're going to come right back on.
Okay.
All right? Bye.